Hey folks, here we are again, Whaler. This is what we did yesterday. We were able to get those two panels on. Little trim done there. Started to put the trim on here and ran out of time. But I've got to go ahead and I've got these two tight, but I've got to get these tight. And but here's the calamity. Here's the hilariousness. You saw the debacles I had with the wires going from here to here, and they were too short, and I must have taken this apart 5 or 6 times. Finally got it perfect, right? All hooked up. Looks good, right? Well, guess what? I'm by myself. I cannot reach these screws over here in the back side underneath the console. I literally have to reach down through there right now to try to reach them. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, 3 weeks ago when I started this project, how did I get these nuts off these screws on the back side? Because you have this, fire extinguisher compartment sticking out there, so I have to reach my hand behind there, and there is no way for me to reach it from down here. And I'm thinking, how did I accomplish that on my own? Well, guess what? I had this off and I reached through there. So here we go, folks. I have to now take this apart again. So that's how it goes. 2 step forwards, 1 step back is kind of how I'm looking at it. So laugh with me. Here I go, taking it apart again. All right, I've opened this up and I'm going to go ahead and just see if I can leave the wires all attached. And I should be able to reach in there and tighten these bolts. Wish me luck. All right, folks, next project, get the throttle back on. So here we are, Morse control. I took this apart pretty quickly during the dismantlation process. So now I got to figure out how to put it back together. Okay, so let's give this a try. We'll see what happens. Alright, so we got these 2 cables coming out. We had this piece of plastic. It's mounted to this knurled piece of brass. There was a crack here. It's very secure, but I put a little bit of epoxy on there anyway, just to keep it from breaking further. Alright, so here's what we've got. I've separated all the nuts and bolts. I figured out where they went. And so let's go ahead and see if we can get this mantled. Alright, so this is the shifter rod, the shifter cable that goes in there. This device here is what controls the shifting. And alright, so it's very ingenious how they did this. I've never seen inside one of these before. Alright, get a couple screws in here to hold that plate. Okay, nice tight, snug fit. Alright, this down here, there is a little ridge inside there. I see there's this indentation on the cable, so that's where that goes. You've got a couple screws that hold that in. And one-handed, this is a little tricky. Okay. See if we can get it lined up. I may have to use my legs somehow. Okay. Yeah, tight fit. Okay, come on, girl. See if I can get this started. Okay, that's halfway in. Okay, success. All right, let's get this clamped down. Make sure that's in there properly. Okay, it appears to be. That nice and snug. Okay, that appears to be in. Okay, perfect. All right, now this cable here goes to the top. I'm just looking in the hole, making sure we don't have the cables crisscrossed. Yeah, and they are. So I'm going to have to take this off. It's like you got to take everything into consideration. It's going to be like this. Alright, there we go. Ah, grease everywhere. Okay. Just get that pushed down. Once again, I have a little U channel here that must go in there. However, it doesn't appear that it's lining up properly. So there could be a couple reasons for that. There's a little bend here. This little rubber cover is not on properly, but even if I stretch it out, I am about 1/8 of an inch shy. So why? Why am I 1/8 of an inch shy? I don't know. Can I? Alright, maybe that'll work. Okay, that gives me the distance. See what I did? I put it towards reverse a little bit. Alright, so now my groove here lines up with my bracket. I might have to go a little more even, right there. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Get everything nice and snug. We don't need this coming apart when we're under power, right? Alright, that seems to be back. We're back. So this fits in there like this. I do have to put the cover on it, but I am a little bit full of grease. I'm going to go wash up so I don't get the chrome all full of grease. Okay. I'm going to take a look at this, how it works. If we put that in gear, it's not moving very well. So pop it in neutral. Alright, it seems, oh no, I'm scratching up my teak. Gotta be careful. Alright. It's not shifting properly. I can't give it any fuel, but could that be because the motor's not running? Well, it goes into reverse. It's not letting me go into forward, but I'm going to go spin the prop. Maybe I'll see if I can turn the head. Alright, well I did take the hood of the motor off and I turned. Oh, there you go, see? Alright. I figured that might work. It was just hitting on a gear or something on the lower unit. Alright, very good. I think we've got full motion. This lock nut, I don't know if you can see that, but it was loose when I took this apart. I'm going to snug that up, and we're going to hope. I'll probably have to take this apart and readjust it at some point. Once we get it out there, we'll see the maximum RPM range and all that, and we'll come in here and adjust this if we need to. But in the meantime, we're going to snug this up. I was told a mechanic adjusted it 3 years ago, Well, he didn't snug this up. I think I have spun this a turn or two one way or another by accident. So I'm not sure exactly where it was. Oh, and I just did that. I just tightened it up and it cracked my epoxy. Did it? Maybe not. I felt like a pop. I mean, it is a piece of plastic, so I'm just going to snug this up a little bit. I didn't reef on it or anything, but as I was tightening it, I felt a little boop, a little pop. And I'm trying to see, I can't tell if that epoxy broke loose or not. We're going to leave it. Alright, so now we got that on. We're going to get this cover on. Alright. Possibly get the cover on. See if we can get the screw in. And there we go. And there's another screw over here, which is strange because it goes in the opposite way and it's a little difficult to get it in there. Okay. Snug as a bug. All right, now I've pulled these cables out to some extent to give me some slack. I'm now going to have to pull them out back here. Perfect, huh? Went right in. Sweet. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at the heads. These are all stainless, but you know, over the years, 40-year-old boat, you know, these stuff have been taken apart. So I'm taking the nicer ones and putting them up where you can see them, and taking the ones that are a little bit damaged and hiding them in the holes that you don't see as predominantly. It's not a perfect world, but you do what you can to make it a little better. Oh, one more thing I forgot. I make notes on all these wires, and I forgot about the two wires that hook up to the throttle. All right. We have this little, I don't know what it does, some kind of shifting mechanism. We have these little wires. So this one goes here, at least I believe so. It says throttle bottom. This one says throttle top. So now my concern is this the top and that's the bottom, or is this the bottom and that's the top? I think this is the top. You know, I don't know now. And this is what I wrote. So I'm wondering, dang it. This could be construed as the bottom, that could be the top, but if you stand it up like this, this is the top, that's the bottom. Shoot. I don't know. So I don't know what kind of damage this is going to cause if I have them reversed. We will find out. I'm pulling on the back end of the cables by the outboard, trying to get it, there we go. At least I can get it down now. Alright. Very good. Alright, let's get this thing mounted. want to get the screw sticking out a little bit so I can make sure I've got it properly lined up. If I can hold on. Damn it. One thing I rarely do is use power tools to put any of these screws in on these boats. I scuffed up my teak here a minute ago just trying to do that. So that's why I usually do them by hand. And you can strip out a lot of stuff if you're not careful. Okay, next thing we got going here is the steering. We've got the throttle in, she's working just fine. Now we got the steering system. And first thing that has to happen is this plate needs to be mounted. These 3 bolts hold this plate in, the teak and the bracket. There's the steering system there, if you can see it, that piece there, and that's got 3 bolts that hold that to the bracket. Now unfortunately, whoever did these holes for these bolts did exactly the same size of the bolt. I have to screw them in like if they're wood screws. I cannot push them in at all, so I have to go ahead and crank all these in. Let's get them tightened up, and then I have to put nuts on the back side. I wish I could push them through, but I can't. I've tried. Alright, so what I've done, I've got all these in now, but I've gone ahead and I kept rotating them to kind of strip out the threads a little bit. These are bolts with nuts and washers and everything on the back end. They have these lock nuts with the nylon inside of them. That's what we're using on the whole boat. It's got the nylon in there so they don't vibrate off. So now I'm going to put them on the back side, you know, inside here, and we're going to crank down and tighten this up, and we have to get unfortunately, we have to try to level out this teak with these 3 bolts in the bracket, because that's what's holding the teak on. So, and I see it's not totally perfect, and whoever put this in did not center it. This is off center. See this? See the difference? Hence the problem here. And that kind of stuff drives me nuts, but I'm not going to replace the teak at this point. Maybe next time around we'll fix that. Alright, we've got this bracket mounted. I dropped a nut from this one. It bounced down in the console down here, and I heard it go clink clink like it hit the fiberglass. So I figured it must have come out through one of the holes or cracks we have in these corners and stuff. There's drain holes and things. So I'm like, okay. So 45 minutes later I finally found it. It was way down under here in this tiny little crack behind this bracket, and I couldn't find it. I kept looking with a screwdriver, sticking a screwdriver in there, wiggling it around and stuff, and I thought it was a brass screw, a brass nut, and then I got a magnet, and it turned out it was just coated. It looks brass, but it's not. Thank God for magnets. So we got this thing, it's on there. I got it as straight as possible. We talked about it not being even because they cut it, they off cut it, look at this, by like a 1/4 inch. So it's not centered, but it is what it is. We got this bracket, it's holding it on. I'm now starting to put these nuts, these bolts in. This is what holds the steering system to the bracket, to the console. So we're tightening up that now. And then I'm going to get inside here and I'm going to try to kind of take these wires and all the cables and everything and try to make them as clean as possible. Well, I was able to get this door on yesterday. All right, I need to get a couple locks, a new lock for this one and the one down there. Okay, and they wear out over the years, just those little plastic snap locks or whatever they call them. All right, and it goes here. You mount another piece there, snaps shut. All right, so we have this one, and now I've got to get these hinges on here. So let's go ahead and get them mounted, and we'll get it hooked up to the frame. Well, there we go, folks. It's on. That thing looks great, huh? What do you guys think? Once again, I also need to get a lock and put it on here. This one broke. The other one looks like it's, they're very old, so I'm going to get one for the side door as well. Better safe than sorry. All right, folks, I'm gonna put some new locks on my doors here on the console. All right, and we had these little plastic ones in here, and they're just not strong enough. They break all the time. So I found some brass ones, which are pretty cool. All right, these are ball bearings. They have screws on the ends to adjust the tension of the ball bearing. So when you snap it shut, if it's too tight, you can loosen them up. But the problem is, these things got square ends, right? And I've got this little hole here, this little spot here, but it's rounded. So I was going to go ahead and grind this off a little bit. I tried rounding this a little bit, just so I could match up the screw holes. However, even after grinding it, it's off slightly. I think it'll work, possibly. But when I'm playing around with it, and the width of the ball bearing section it doesn't sit flush because it needs to fit inside this hole. Excuse me. So like that's what it's supposed to look like. However, the screw holes are off a little bit, and so that's what I end up with. I don't want to have to drill new, there's not enough room to drill new holes. If I start drilling a hole right next to it, it's going to, break off, or the drill will just kind of wander into the old hole, I think. So what I have to do is get a little miter here, I have a little grinder thing. Well, one of these things. What do you call these things? One of these, a rotor zip type of thing with little tiny ends. And I'm just going to go ahead and grind off a little bit of this so this can fit in there. All right, folks. I've got these fitted. I had to do a little notching here. And so I just went ahead and cut that out a little bit and got it in here. I'm going to go ahead and take these off and then go ahead and seal these up, since I filed away at them, did a little grinding, and down here too, just kind of seal up the wood a little bit. Not a big deal. I mean, nobody would ever see it, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Plus these are scratched right here. I'm going to turn that around. The other side's not, but I just put them in there temporarily, and it works great. Look at that. and I had to loosen up the screws on the side a little here just to give a little less tension on the ball. I went ahead and did this side as well. This one was a little easier. I didn't have to do any cutting or anything. All right. I mean, really nice. Much better than those plastic ones I've used over the years that just fall apart on me. Hey, well, thanks for tuning in and watching the show today, folks. We got the console together finally. Yeah, what a calamity of errors and redos and over, but it looks great. It looks functional. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic boat when it's done. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and share with your friends and subscribe to the channel and click the little bell so you're notified next time I put in a video. Thanks for watching again. You guys have a great day.